to the GT Improvement course. Today we're going to work on some more percent word problems. Remember the formula that we talked about using for percent of a number type word problems was percent of whole equals part. And remember, the whole is always the original price or the amount, and the part is your tax, tip, discount, etc. So yesterday we worked with some problems that required you to primarily find the part. Today we're going to work on some problems that require you to find either the percent or the whole in a word problem. But before we jump into those, I have 3 practice problems as a warm-up that I would like you to do on your own. So I'm going to post pictures of those problems. There's 3 of them. Go ahead and work those out, and I'll show you the answers when we come back. All right, here are your answers. For the first one, Jim and his friend Andy went to the movies. They each bought popcorn for $4.25 and a soda for $2.25. What was their bill after adding a 5% sales tax? So we're going to need to figure out how much stuff they bought, what was that total price. Then we're going to need to calculate the tax, and then we're going to have to add the 2 together. For the items that they bought, I ended up with $13 because they got 2 of each. Then we had to figure out 5% of 13, so 13 times 0.05. That should have gotten you 65 cents in tax. And then we just added this back to our 13 to get a total of $13.65. So that's your answer for number 12. All right, the next one. The Griffin family bought some new camping gear at REI that totaled $318. They received a 30% discount. What was their total bill? For this one, first thing we had to do was calculate the discount, which was 30% of $318.50. So multiplied those 2, should have gotten a discount of $95.55. That was your part. Then, since this is a discount, we had to subtract that from the original amount. So when you did that, you should have ended up with $222.95. All right. Number 14. Ryan transfers 15% of his monthly pay into a savings account. If he makes $18.50 per month, how much will he save in a year? So the first thing I would want to know is how much is he saving per month. So I did 15% of $18.50. And when you do that, you should have gotten a total of $277.50 per month. And then I multiplied that by 12 and ended up with $3,300 for 1 year. Another way that you could have done it is you could have multiplied your $18.50 by 12 to get the total amount that he's making in a year, and then do 15% of that. That should have gotten you the same answer. So usually with word problems, there's usually more than one way to get there, okay? So that way would have worked just fine as well. All right, let's work on some word problems that require you to find not the part, but either the whole, the original price, or the percent. So that's what we're going to work on next. All right, so let's practice this first problem here. A store buys shirts for $10 and sells them for $15. What percent of the sale price is profit? Okay, so we're selling shirts, and they were purchased for $10, but they were sold for $15. Okay, so this was the store owner's price, and this is what he marked them up to buy. So the first question I would want to know is, what is the profit that he's making per shirt? Well, if he's buying them for 10 and selling them for 15, he's making a $5 profit. Now the question is asking, what percent of the sale price is profit? So the question is asking, what percent what percent, we don't know that, of the sale price, which is $15, is profit. We know the profit was $5. So you can see how I started this out. I looked at the question, I wrote down the information that I knew, broke down the problem, and then I was able to take this information and plug it into my formula, okay? Now, please know that it wasn't always this easy for me. This has come with lots and lots of practice and through teaching this course. All right, so if you didn't see that, that's okay. We're here to practice. So now, if we were to solve this, this would be x times 15 equals 5. Okay, so in order, we usually would write this 15x equals 5. So now I need to divide both sides by 15. 5 divided by 15. Now, at this point, I would look at my answers. You can see that all our answers are in a percent. So I would want to work this as a percent. Right now, I could do this a couple ways. Right now you have a fraction here, right? 5/15. That could be reduced to 1/3. And I know, because I've memorized all the equivalent fractions on the back of my handy dandy foldable, I know that 1/3 is the same thing as 33.3333%. So looking at your answer choices, it has to be B. But if you didn't see this fraction situation, you absolutely still could have done your long division, and you would have gotten 0.33333, which is the same thing as 33 1/3%. Okay, so that's the first one. All right, so for this problem, it says the discount on a radio is $29.95, which is 10% of the original price. What was the original price? So this is another percent of a number situation. Okay, and the question is, let me move that up. And the question is, what was the original price? So the original price, which is what goes here, always, 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 is what we are trying to figure out. They have given us the price, the amount of the discount. It says the discount on a radio is $29.95. So that number is considered to be my part for this problem, which is a discount. And that's saying that $29.95 is 10% of the original price, which is what we are trying to figure out. So 10% of something is $29.95. Okay, so always look at the question, what was the original price? That will help you in determining this. And the reason that I know to use this setup for this problem is we're talking about discounts, we're talking about original prices, and we have a percent. That's pretty much a surefire way to tell that this is the formula you can use for this kind of problem. Okay? All right, so now to solve, this is 10% of x. I need to change my percent to a decimal, so that's going to be 0.1. X equals 29.95. Now to solve this equation, you go ahead and do it on your own. I think you know what to do. Okay, so you should have ended up with 299.50. Now remember, we talked a couple videos about finding 10% of a number. Let's say that number is 310. Remember, whenever you need to find 10% of a number, all you're doing is moving the decimal one place to the left. So that would be, oops, that would be 31. They did the same thing here. You could have just done, since you know it's 29.95, you know that decimal was just moved one place to the left, so it had to be 299.50. So your answer was C. All right. Okay, in this problem it says, in one county, 8,160 people are older than 65. This is 30% of the total population. What is the total population? All right, so what do we know? We know that we have this county of people. Let's say this represents the county. And they're saying that in this county, I'm just going to draw a little circle. We'll say so many of those people are older than 65, right? Are senior citizens. Now, they're telling you that that number is 30% of the total population. What is the total population? So we're trying to figure out how many people are all together in this community. We know who's over 65, but we don't know how many are in the total community. So let's put into our percent of a number. So what did you determine the whole and the part to be? In this case, the whole is what we are trying to figure out. And in this problem, that represents the total population. The part in this situation represents the people over 65, which was 8,160. And we know the percent, they're saying this is 30% of the original population, or not original population, but the total population. Total pop. Okay? So this is 30% of the total population is 8,160 people. All right, you know what to do next. That was the hard part, just figuring out which numbers go where, and where your x goes. Now it's algebra. 0.3x equals 8160. Divide by 0.3. So 8160 divided by 0.3. Okay, now I'm going to give you a little trick here. If you look at your answers, you can see that all of our answers begin with 2. 2 out of the 4 answers have the second digit of 4, and 2 out of the 4 have the second digit of 7. Use these numbers to your advantage to try to lessen the amount of work that you have to do, okay? So I'm just going to move my decimal. So 3 goes into 8 2 times. 3 goes into 21 7 times. So right away I know that A and C are out. It has to be either B or D, and the next digit is going to help me determine which one that is, okay? 7 times 3 is 21. Bring down the 6, it goes in twice, so I'm just going to stop right there. I know it has to be D, okay? So use those answers to your advantage. They can help tell you a lot of things. They can tell you how to work a problem if they're all in percents, fractions, or decimals, and they can help you do this annoying computation, okay? Okay, next problem. A boy ran 2 miles on Monday and increased the distance by 35% on Wednesday. How far did he run on Wednesday? So we have this kid. I'm telling you, drawing pictures can be really helpful. Helps you connect to the problem. So we have this kid and he ran 2 miles on Monday. And then he increased the distance by 35% on Wednesday. So this kid ran 2 miles on Monday and then he went 35% further on Wednesday. So I need to figure out which is the whole and which is the part. I know the percent, right? It's 35%. So 35% of whole equals part. Am I trying to figure out the whole or the part? I know I'm trying to figure out how far he ran in total on Wednesday, but before I can figure that out, I need to know how much that 35% was in distance. So in this case, I am looking for the part, and my whole would be the 2 miles. Okay, so now I'm going to do 35% of 2, so 0.35 times 2, get 70. So he ran 35% further, represents 0.7 miles. So the total distance that he ran on Wednesday was 2 miles plus an additional 0.7 miles. So the answer would be 2.7. So your answer is B. And look how they try to trick you. They give you A as an option, the 0.7 miles, but that doesn't tell you how far he ran on Wednesday. That just tells you what the increase was compared to Monday. Okay, they're so mean, and I'm sorry, they try to trick you, but you have to read the question. It's super important that you understand what the question is asking you. Okay. All right, the boat problem. Now we're buying boats. The boat had an original sticker price of $7,500. Buyer was able to negotiate a 9% reduction in price. However, he discovered on paying for it that a 5% sales tax was due. How much did he actually pay for the boat? Okay, this is what we know. So we have this boat that's $7,500. We're getting a 9% discount, so that's going to get deducted from this price, right? It's a discount. But on top of that, we also have to pay a 5% tax, which is added after the deduction. So essentially what I'm going to need to do is figure out how much is my discount and get a new price. And then whatever that price is, I'm going to have to calculate the sales tax and add it, okay? So we got, the first thing I did was 9% of 7,500, which got me $675. That represents my discount. So I took that away from the 7,500, which gave me my new boat price of $68.25. Now I have to calculate the tax. Tax rate is 5%, so we have to do 5% of $68.25, which should have gotten you $341.25. This represents the tax, which is then added to this price. So $68.25 plus $341.25 is $71.66.25. Okay, whew, I know that was a lot of work. That was our last problem. I hope you did well during these problems. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions, just let me know and I will be more than happy to reply, okay? Enjoy the rest of your day. Take a brain break. I know that was a lot of work. All right, take care. Bye.